Hello and welcome to Last Time On. This is a podcast for everyone who wants to watch all the prestige television, but who's got time for it?
I know I don't.
Hey, good morning everyone, or good evening, or good afternoon, good tea time, whatever time of the day it happens to be for you. I'm Victor.
I'm Xhafer.
And we have made it through at lightning speed, Guinness World Record holding speed time of watching The Adventures of Brisco County Jr.
Yeah. I mean, not from, like, the first episode we watched to the last, because...
This counts. This totally counts. Okay.
Yeah, total 3 episodes. We're here for it.
We broke records, Xhafer.
You know, almost all Guinness records are actually just, like, paid for.
How much does this thing cost?
The economics of the future is somewhat different.
I believe that, yeah.
There's a great expense in acquiring a Guinness World Record to the point where it's just become a rich people hobby.
Yeah, I remember that about 10, 12 years ago, there was another site that was set up because of that, because of how exclusive Guinness World Records have become. They called themselves, I want to say, the World Record Database.
Okay.
And they actually got sued by Guinness, and they had to change their name. So I don't even know if they're still up, but it's called recordsetter.com. And I remember watching a podcast that they set up where people would just call in, and since the site just started, people would call into the podcast and set world records right there live on the show. And it was stupid stuff like how many jumping jacks you could do in 1 minute. It was pretty hilarious.
Just I'm operating under that first in privilege.
Right.
Man. Well, we are last out today. We've got our season finale of Brisco, High Treason Part 2.
Part 2. Did we see Part 1? No, we did not. We went right into Part 2, as we do here on the show.
Into Part 2. I was shocked at some of the things in this episode.
I was not expecting any of it. Actually, there was quite a bit.
We'll get to it as we get to it. But I like this episode, especially because it's the finale, and we're not doing any more predictions. So the research curtain is lifted. I did some research.
Oh,
not
really?
A ton. We open on Socrates crying.
Mm-hmm.
As Brisco and Bowler are surprised to be not dead. We don't see them get shot.
At first, I thought it was a funeral. And then a couple of, as the Union soldiers were walking away, I was like, oh, this is not a funeral, it's a firing squad.
It was a firing squad. But Pete Hutter from Pete's Piece of the
Pete's
first episode.
back! Pete is back!
How is Pete alive?
Well, that's a good question, Xhafer. Why I say, let's get weird with it.
Let's get weird.
Well, in our pre-predictions, I predicted aliens. So I'm going to say aliens resurrect Pete.
Aliens resurrected Pete? That's
Yep.
pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm going to say that's not actually Pete, but that's Pete. And Pete is one of 11 siblings. And they're all identical twins, or 11 tuplets, whatever you want to call it. And they're all named Pete, but they have a different pronunciation of Pete.
Ugh, man. That must have been a really rough everything.
It's like Xhafer from Babylon 5, you know?
No, that was not Xhafer. That was Xhafer. There are 10 of us.
Oh, okay.
Xhafer.
You're saying it wrong. It's Xhafer.
It's Xhafer, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So we find out Pete was dressed as a Union soldier here. Him and a couple other guys all had rubber bullets. This was all planned. But before they can get away, the Union soldiers realize what's going on, and they have to run.
Yeah.
So it's just all for nothing. It got them like 50 feet away.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I understood quite what was going on here.
I don't think they really had a plan either, but they got the rubber bullets in there somehow.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a lot of fun finding out how that happened.
Yeah. So Hutter and two others go one way. Brisco and Bowler go another. And Hutter and Viva and another guy whose name I didn't write down are all immediately captured.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, and they get thrown in the prison
Yeah.
with Elvis.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll get to him in a minute.
Yeah.
But Brisco and Bowler are heading south to Mexico. And then we cut over to the Union Army with Terry fucking Bradshaw.
Listeners, I swear we're not making this up. This sounds like
it gets crazier.
fucking random as shit. It sounds like we're playing Mad Libs over here. We're all just like Elvis and Terry Bradshaw and
Yeah, so Terry Bradshaw is going to be killing the president and Brisco and Boulder.
Is that what he was doing? I thought it
Yeah.
was. I was very confused here, and like I said, I was distracted while I was watching this last night, and I didn't catch it. I thought that they were hired by the president to.
No, they're going to kill the president so that the general can become president or do a military coup of some variety.
Oh man, I must have skipped that day in history class when I was out smoking weed.
I was gonna go to class before I got high.
Grover Cleveland in this episode. We'll talk about
We'll get to that.
and
We'll get
Richard
to Grover
Hurd in a minute. Yeah. But Brisco wants to clear their names. Bowler wants to retire to a fucking beach. Hell yeah.
Bowler's got the best ideas.
Bowler has the best idea, 100%. Mm-hmm. And then we cut over to the jail where Viva, who is just fucking Elvis, has bribed a guard for a like peanut butter bacon banana sandwich for breakfast.
Sounds amazing right now.
Him and Hutter argue about who designed the cell and how to escape. We cut back over to Terry Bradshaw, who is leading a team of football players.
I assumed that his gang here were all actual football players. But
I clocked one guy immediately, which is Jim Harbaugh, who is the coach who just took the University of Michigan to the national championships.
Oh, wow.
Undefeated season. Just wrecked fucking everyone. So obviously as a Southeast Michigan guy, I've got some feelings about that.
Nice.
So I recognized him off the bat. I had to look up Ken Norton and Carl Banks, both of which were players at this time. Terry Bradshaw had just started doing commentary for NFL on Fox.
Oh, wow.
This is 1994. And so Jim had just been traded to the Colts. He was a player. Carl was on Cleveland, and Ken Norton was on the 49ers. And both Ken and Jim go on to have coaching careers after this, and Carl does not.
I went ahead and pulled up the IMDb since this was the last episode, and I looked up some of these guys. And one of them in his IMDb profile pic had a polo shirt and the headset on.
Yeah.
So I was assuming he was a football guy.
Yes, he was that's going to be Ken Norton, player coach. Yeah, so they're trying to find Falco's caravan. They're going to capture Falco, kill Xhafer, who I'm guessing is a reoccurring character that we've never met.
Mm-hmm. She's the Dr. Quinn looking girl, isn't she?
Yeah.
Jennifer, yeah.
Who is not the professor's daughter.
At first, this is why I had to pull up IMDb, because I was like, see the recording we're watching is like VHS quality.
Yeah.
And
it's
I was
rough.
just like, is it, God, I'm forgetting her name right now. But I was like, is that Dizzy from Starship Troopers? Because like, I couldn't really tell. That's who I thought it was at first.
That's fair. Yeah, so Brisco and Bowler rescue Jennifer as Falco gets captured, and they are followed by our very enthusiastic football coaches and players.
I love the football gang. I mean, as someone who's not even a football fan, just these guys were great.
They were acting their fucking hearts out.
And they did when they first showed up, and they did that is such a cool thing, man. When they all four rode up, and they all dismounted their horses at the same time. That just looks cool as shit, man.
We work for Mr. Tunstall as regulators. We regulate any stealing of his property.
Yeah.
They did the exact same thing in Game of Thrones with Stannis' army when Stannis and his goons pull up. They all dismounted at the same time. Like, man, that is just such a badass thing to do. If I am ever on a horse with 3 other people, we are totally going to do that.
You're going to try, and you're going to have to practice.
Yeah.
Getting off of a horse sucks. And the last time I did it was probably 22 years ago.
Please tell me you guys had horses out there in your LARPing days.
No. Oh, that's so dangerous. Oh, there'd be so many dead people. Oh, no.
Yeah, I learned actually a long time ago, or not a long time ago, but, well, yeah, I guess it would have been at least 10 years ago by now. There was an event back in Austin called Lists on the Lake, where it was the founder, I forgot his name, but any big nerd will correct me on this, because he was the founder of Ultima Online, and he owns he owns a little estate down there by Lake Austin, and once a year, I don't know if he still does this, he hosts a medieval style tournament. It's like a mini Renaissance fair, and they have actual jousting. Like, it's not real jousting because they use balsa wood sticks because, they don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they have, I learned about this there. The jousting field had a massive, like a wall set up down the middle so the horses couldn't see each other, because the horses we have today are nothing like the horses that existed on Earth 200 years ago. Like, they were bred for war. So, yeah, horses today won't do that shit. They won't charge headfirst at each other. Be like, what the fuck? No! So,
this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
One of us is going to be very hurt.
Yeah. So horses back then, I don't know how they trained them or how they were bred to have no fucking fear. They were just like, I don't know. Horses back then were crazy, apparently. Anyway, I learned all this at the tournament I went to. Anyway, there's your history lesson from Victor. So.
Yeah. So, these football coaches, they're just running around. We see Socrates hanging out with President Grover Cleveland.
Played by Richard Earth. This is the second time in a row we've had fucking Admiral Paris. This
dude's in everything.
And holy shit, he looks exactly the same as he did when we saw him in Shameless last season.
Despite it being 30 years early.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I mean, I know he's like aged makeup up in this, and he was probably aged makeup down in that, but I don't care.
Yeah, he's doing good, man. He's drinking his prune juice or something.
Yeah. The president is a terrible shot. He keeps asking for a bigger shotgun when he keeps failing to hit a clay pigeon.
Yeah. I love how
me.
Socrates is just tossing these. I guess that must have been what they did back then.
100%, yeah.
Is it?
Well, they probably didn't have those clay pigeons back then, because that was very much a modern machined clay pigeon that he was throwing. I mean, they might have, but it looked like one that they just pulled off of a shooting range. I've shot a lot of skeet. I don't know if you talk about this.
So have I, brother. So have I.
I've shot a lot of skeet in my teenage years. Man. When I was a teenager, I'd get home from school, jump in the car, go out to the range, and just skeet all day, all night.
Oh, God. You didn't have the stamina that I do today, but I had
No,
back then.
too old for that now.
I can just shoot skeet all day.
You get one, and you're calling it good.
Oh man, we are getting pulled from iTunes for this conversation.
This is why we have the explicit rating.
Yeah.
As default. I have never once checked to see if I had said something inappropriate in an episode. I just
better to
assume I
yeah.
have the capability of saying something inappropriate every episode and go from there.
Yep, it's just easier that way. Yep.
Yeah. No, but
Anyway,
I shot
so-
competitive skeet shooting, like 12 gauge shotgun, when I was in high
Wow.
school.
That's pretty awesome.
That was like my high school sport.
I caught a little bit of that on the Olympics recently. The competitive, I guess it was skeet shooting that they had because I saw some clips of guys at the Olympics out with shotguns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know skeet shooting is an Olympic sport. I do not know what you were watching, though, because there's a handful of different.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
sports.
shooting categories in the Olympics. Because I was really curious because, you know, the meme went around of the Turkish guy who looks like a hitman. And I looked into it a little bit. And, yeah, I mean, I learned a lot about Olympic shooting. But because I was curious because the guns that they were using in, like, the pistol competition were just air pistols, which was interesting. And the skeet shooting, those must have been shotguns because there's no way a freaking air pistol can shoot those things out of the air. So it must have been actual. But anyway.
Yeah, so it definitely looked like I worked at a shooting range in high school, so it definitely just looked like a normal ass clay pigeon on the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would have
Grover-
a little hand sling and you'd throw them. I only had to do that once or twice, and it was only when like the shooting range was closed and everyone who worked there was just having fun.
Seems kind of dangerous to, you know,
Oh, no,
have,
you throw it,
have
you
a
throw
guy
it away
he's,
from you.
The dude is standing in front of Grover Cleveland there. I mean, Socrates
Yeah,
is standing
that's-
in front of him tossing it.
No, you stand behind the guy with the gun.
Yeah.
And he doesn't turn around. Those be the rules.
Yeah, this didn't seem very safe, but I do love that. Yeah, he kept on asking for bigger and bigger guns until eventually he got that ridiculous looking bugle gun.
Blunderbuss thing.
That's
yeah.
yes, the blunderbuss. I can't believe that was actually a real thing. So yeah, Admiral Paris gets his blunderbuss.
Yeah. He wants to be able to help, but Socrates can't do much. They need to be able to clear Brisco and Bowler's names to be able to really assist. His hands are tied.
Mm-hmm.
Brisco wires the professor for help.
Oh, is that when he got up on the telegraph?
Yeah, he was on the telegraph line, hot wiring it, kind of doing the taps. That, of course, would probably not work because the whole point was sending an electrical signal. And so if it was a telegraph line, he would not be sending an electrical signal by tapping it, but you would need to tap on the other end to complete the circuit, which is the whole point. But, you know, whatever.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's the only factual inaccuracy we got in this episode.
For sure. So he wires the professor while they continue to run from Bradshaw and crew. Brisco reveals the meetup spot and sends Comet off with the horses.
Speaking of horses, I don't know if you clocked this, but it drove me crazy. They kept using the same sound effect for the horses over and over. The whinny neigh, it's like they just copied and pasted the same damn sound clip of the generic horse sound.
So yeah, Brisco sends Comet to lead the other horses to try and distract them, but that does not work. Our crew has to run through a town here.
Oh, is that when we got the wagon wheels?
Yes,
on the
which is the football thing.
Yeah,
it's the football tires. They're running through the
God,
the
that was so
historical
fucking
accurate football
hilarious,
tires.
but
And then when they go set the building on fire, he says we're gonna blitz them out of there.
Right.
Like they're just throwing all kinds of football terminology in, and so it's like this is clearly Like they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had to have advertised on Sunday night Fox or whatever it was airing at that time. If they had Monday Night Football, Sunday, whatever it was. It's all like watch Terry Bradshaw on Brisco County Jr. this week and have him talk about being on the show and stuff. The timing of the airing of the show did coincide with some football season, so I think that's exactly.
It's funny that there was a lot of this in the 90s, a lot of sports tie-ins with sci-fi. Well, I mean, I guess this could be Brisco could definitely be considered sci-fi or at the very least sci-fi adjacent.
It's steampunk.
Yeah,
I think it's before steampunk existed, but it's steampunk.
Yeah, speaking of Starship Troopers, that opened with a football scene, and more recently, one of my favorite underrated movies ever, Lockout with Guy Pearce, had a whole football illusion at the end of the movie. Have you seen that one, Xhafer?
I have not.
It's great. It's a great cheesy, fun sci-fi movie, but in the climax of the movie, they have this fighter squadron about to assault the space station, and it's ridiculous. They have to drop a bomb in the center of the space station, and these fighters do
Sheridan style.
Yeah, they have to. They're in this formation, and they're passing the bomb between the ships. It's so stupid. Like they get in the center, they drop the bomb in the middle, and then it's the most ridiculous Hollywood tactics. It makes no fucking sense. Why would they do this? But it's like obviously supposed to be a football game. I don't know. I don't know why they keep doing this. Why Hollywood thinks sci-fi nerds want to see sports in there.
I think they're trying to make sports nerds watch sci-fi.
Get those nerds! Nerds!
More than sci-fi nerds watch sports. At least that would be my hope.
Yeah. So anyway, is this the part where the Zeppelin comes over and rescues our boys?
Yes, and it is a Zeppelin, not a blimp. Besides them naming it as such later, there is actually a difference.
There is, and I feel like I should know this.
A Zeppelin has a rigid structure on the balloon on the inside. A blimp is inflated like a balloon and uses air pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So you could not enter the inside of the blimp part of the Goodyear blimp.
Right.
Because it's pressurized, and if you were to open it, it would start to deflate.
And the Zeppelin has like steel beams and stuff supporting the structure. There's a rigid airship is what it's called. Yes, okay. Yes. Now I remember this.
Which is why Poole's able to just like run up in there and open up some gas.
And it's helium, of course. As soon as they mentioned helium, I knew they were going to do the helium voice gag.
Yeah.
It's always good for a cheap laugh, but that worked.
Yeah. I mean, at least they tell us it's helium because it's like they're firing bullets at this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're next to a fire, and I'm just like, oh man, this is bad.
Oh no.
This is the Hindenburg waiting to happen. And then I did some research on the Hindenburg.
Did you now?
Yeah, you know what was much later in history than I ever thought it was?
Yeah, no, it was
Hindenburg.
Oh gosh, when it was in the 1938. Okay, yeah.
So World War II is not fully in swing with the whole world, but it is in effect. But it is before the U.S. has entered the war. The Hindenburg goes down in New York, right? You always see that famous photo of the Hindenburg, burning up in air. You know what's already on fire in those pictures that you can't see anymore? The giant fucking swastikas that were on that thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. So
Makes me have a whole different set of feelings about the burning of that ship.
Yeah, this was in the 30s. This was before
38.
Because I do remember before World War II really kicked off. I mean, that's how Mr. Hitler came to power. As he was a big, he was an influencer, back then, and I think Time magazine even before the war and all the shit went down actually had him as their person of the year. It's worth thousands of dollars. It's ridiculous. So
yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of Nazis who like jerking off to it.
Yeah. So.
It's like that one episode of what's that show? Rob Picardo's collecting all the Hitler paintings.
Yeah.
And you think he's a secret Nazi, but he's actually burning them all. We check in on Hutter and Viva, who are dueling air banjos instead of trying to escape.
Yeah, why the hell? Why?
Weird fucking choice.
I don't know why they decided to take a pause in their prison break to have dueling air banjos.
Because they needed to fill the airtime. The crew leaves the Zeppelin as they make a bunch of Led Zeppelin jokes.
Don't tell me you guys have never gotten the lead out. Jimmy Page, Robert Plant? Ring any bells?
Yeah. Did you catch right after Bowler and Brisco get off the Zeppelin and they're talking about what to do with the president? Did you catch in the bathroom? Did you catch in the background that a car drives by?
No.
Yeah, as they're standing there talking about it, you can see a fucking car drive by behind the trees.
No.
They must have just gone out to like a state park somewhere and just to film this and didn't close the set.
I was spending time writing about the solid 2 minutes we get of Bowler trying to unplug his inner ear.
Yeah, it was right before that. It was right before they grab. He grabs Briscoe's nose like a fucking car drives by in the background. Yeah. Beautiful.
President Cleveland arrives in town. Socrates goes to talk to the president. When Comet arrives to let them know that Terry Bradshaw is in town, and he immediately captures Socrates. As our outlaws free themselves right when Brisco turns the corner, reunited them before anything season-ending goes down. Bradshaw is getting ready to kill the president as the crew gets caught in hay, which serves a sufficient distraction for Brisco and Bowler to get to President Cleveland, who is currently meeting with the Mexican president, signing a accord. Bowler throws a perfect spiral with a little mini keg into Terry Bradshaw's head to knock him off of his horse, and they stop the assassination of the president to thanks, pardons, but no raises.
Oh, right. Yeah, he asks for a raise. And yeah, so I guess they were working for the
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
know.
they're proto-Secret Service at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about this last time, I think, or you mentioned something about the Pinkertons and how this was before the FBI,
Pinkertons
I think,
become the Secret Service at a certain point, and then split off, and then there's the Secret Service and the Pinkertons as separate organizations, because the Pinkertons are still around.
Yeah, they are. I know this for some reason.
I got a job offer from the Pinkertons.
Hey, well, did they pay well?
Didn't care. No, it was a application to. It was like an invitation to apply.
I hate those.
Yeah, it was just like
you're already pre-approved for this credit
for this job interview. Yeah, it's just no thanks. But yeah, so they save the president. Pete's piece gets touched again as they ride off. Everyone thinks Pete's dead. Pete's not dead. They don't really talk about it that much.
I'm telling you, man. I'll tell you, that's not Pete. It's Pete.
We're on Pete number 3, possibly 4.
I was going to say either that, or I was going to say my first thought was he must have been resurrected by that magic orb from the UFO in the first episode.
Maybe, and maybe that's just left over and what saved him this time too. Maybe they never explain it. Maybe we never know how Pete lives.
I would love it if it's just one of those things that just
Pete died Pete like 5 times.
Yeah, he's the Kenny of Brisco County.
Brisco and Bowler get a picture with the president and then ride off to credits.
I meant to look that up to see if there was some famous picture of Grover Cleveland with 2 random guys, maybe, but then again, because I went and looked it up, and apparently Grover Cleveland was president twice, at least.
Yeah,
not consecutively though. It was where was I going with this? I don't know why I was curious about the historical accuracy of this fucking Brisco County Jr. But yeah, I was like, was there actually an assassination attempt on Grover Cleveland? No, there wasn't.
Huh, I didn't even think to look.
Yeah. But Richard Hurd is the correct choice for Grover Cleveland. They look
100%.
the
What a
similarities there were. Yeah, good choice.
Well, normally we would be tallying up some points or making some predictions right now.
Well, I went ahead and I
Did you tally?
I didn't tally. I combed through all our previous predictions over the last couple of episodes, and I wrote them all down.
Okay.
So we'll just go through them real quick. We'll get the official score next time on Last Time On,
Yeah.
when we'll be joined by Bullwhip Ben. Will return to the show.
Yeah.
And he will give us the summary of Brisco County and all the things we missed.
Oh, yeah. We didn't do my cowboy intro, my cowboy name.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, Cactus Vic
I really didn't want to bring it up because this one, I was trying to think of card games, right?
Oh, no.
I was thinking card games are pretty cowboy.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I'm from Michigan. We play a lot of euchre up here, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, in euchre, you can make a suit trump. And then I just stopped myself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just knew this time.
Thank you.
Didn't even. Yeah.
Thinking, what are you doing up there?
Guessing. I guess no one's coming.
I have seen into the future.
You ruined the prophecy.
So previously, I predicted that Brisco would do a rapid fire 6-shooter style, which I don't think he did. I think once again, Brisco went this entire episode pretty sure he didn't shoot his gun at all.
He does not fire his weapon very often. I think we've seen it once.
He did lasso a guy off of a horse. Totally called that one.
Yeah, we saw that.
We got the dramatic saloon villain entrance. We got that in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
We got lots of steampunk inventions. If the power armor from last episode didn't count, then the Zeppelin definitely counts.
they both very much count.
And then we got my Star Trek cameo, saved by Richard Hurd once again, who played Admiral Paris 4 separate occasions in Voyager.
Yeah,
and he played a Klingon in one of the other series. I forgot which one though. But he makes a really good Klingon too.
Yeah.
And I actually made a comic about him on Dominion Media Television once, where he was calling his son Tom Paris in the Delta Quadrant because he wanted to talk to his grandkids, the lizard children that him and Janeway had.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. Resetting the clock for mentioning Star Trek. It has been 0 days since we mentioned Star Trek on Last Time On. Brisco, I think Brisco went this entire run without killing anyone. Because I don't think no one died in this episode that I could see. Comet. So this one, I'll leave this one up to Ben, whether or not we could say Comet saved the day in this episode.
I would say Comet definitively did not save the day.
Yeah, he didn't do. He did some stuff, but nothing that ended up being particularly useful.
In fact, everything he did immediately
did not work.
Either didn't matter or didn't work.
Yeah. Okay, so I missed the point there. I did predict that there would be a new girl love interest. We did get a new girl, but it seemed pretty professional. With
hard to say. We don't know what happened in the episode before. I'll let Ben clarify on this one.
Okay, yeah. But we most definitely got my 3-pointer prediction of having a death fake-out scene, which happened at the very first start of the episode.
Yep. Good.
Got that right out of the way. And moving on to Xhafer's predictions, he predicted a train. We got a train. He predicted Brisco Sr. We got Brisco Sr. He predicted aliens. Aliens are still up in the air.
Haven't seen aliens yet.
You predicted then that Bowler would actually catch someone. I don't think he...
I don't think we saw Bowler actually apprehend anybody.
Yeah, well, yeah, no one did, actually. None of them on our entire watch through. I think...
None of the gang, yeah.
None of the gang. Well, the only one he ever caught was the annoying power armor guy. and that was all Brisco.
count him. Yeah. Bowler was preoccupied.
Yeah. Now I do want to give you this point. You can have it if you choose to accept it. But you predicted that Brisco, in the very first episode, we saw that Brisco spoke, I think, Mandarin and French, I want to say, in the first episode.
We got French and Ned Zed.
Yeah. And then you were going to say that Brisco speaks another language.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say horse counts.
Okay, that's fair.
Because he was talking to Comet.
He definitely speaks horse.
He speaks horse.
He's fluent in horse.
He is, yeah. Let's see. Your 3-pointer prediction for that one was Brisco dies and it's all a dream.
Was not all a dream.
We'll let Ben decide on that one. Who knows? This could all be a fever dream. This final episode. Who knows? You were going to predict that Brisco catches Bly. I'm going to go ahead and predict that your prediction was correct, that he caught Bly at this point, because there's no mention of him at all.
He is not a concern for the plot at this point.
Then your next prediction was that someone would wield a trident or an equally weird-ass weapon in some way.
Yeah. I don't think we saw that in this episode.
There were
blimp was not used as a weapon.
Surprisingly, no improvised weapons, unless you want to count that thing that Bowler threw, the not a football.
The little mini keg. Yeah. Not really what I was going for.
Yeah. And then your final triple prediction, or 3-point prediction, was Socrates kills someone.
Does not appear to have happened.
You know what? I do want to say that actually happened at some point in the series. That just, yeah.
I can a bit too clean cut to get his hands dirty.
Man, at some point in this 22 episode season, I'd put money on it that Socrates goes full berserker rage at some point. I can see that happening. That would be awesome.
Well, we'll probably find out next week.
We will find out next week.
Bullwhip Ben takes us through the series that we missed. But until then, we got to, of course, say thank you to Ripe for letting us use Goon Squad as our theme music. Thank you so much. They're on tour right now. They're coming kind of close. Might make a trip to go see them.
Man, those guys are playing all over the place. Seems like every episode we're talking about new tour dates that they have.
Yeah, they're doing good.
Yeah.
And we're happy.
We are happy for them. And we are happy for you, the listener, who's come back to support us by downloading our podcast and listening to it in the background and not paying attention to it while you're working or whatever.
Or not paying attention to work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Please feel free to join our Discord or find us on Facebook. Yes, we are still on Facebook. And leave us a review. If you leave us a review, we'll mention your name here on the show. Yeah, so leave us a review. That'd be awesome. It really helps out the show.
And we'll see you next time on Last Time On. I always wanted to do it!
Yeah!
Am I not adjusting the right... Oh. I was not adjusting the right knob.
There you go. That's perfect. There's that sweet, dulcet Xhafer voice that I'm used to.
Tickling the yellows.